First tonight, nearly 100 residents on Moores Island now have deeds of conveyances. Residents overjoyed to finally have land papers that many family members have waited decades for. Plus, government now ready to move from review to action as it relates to moving scrap metal operations out of residential areas. And later, some of the region's top mixologists coming together for a first-of-its-kind Caribbean cocktail tour. The launch kicking off at Bon Vivant's. We've got the details for these stories and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Nearly 100 residents of Moores Island received their deeds of conveyance yesterday. The property papers were presented at a special ceremony, and for some, it was a moment they've waited decades for. Our Danielle Miller was there.
Friday morning was a special morning for hundreds of residents of Moores Island as they received their deeds of conveyance. Some people even waiting 90 years to receive this document.
Today is a day of fulfillment, a day when families who waited for decades finally received what they were promised long ago.
These were the remarks delivered by Minister of Housing and Urban Renewal, Keith Bell, at the official deeds of conveyance ceremony on Moores Island Friday morning. Attaining proper documentation for land is a vexing issue for many Bahamians. In an effort to address the problem in 2020, the Minister administration passed the Property Execution of Deeds and Documents Act. However, in 2025, it was the Davis administration making amendments to the act that gave the process a second wind. Now, in 2026, residents of the Moores Island community are receiving their long-awaited deeds. Residents like former boat builder Jonathan Dean. At age 93, Mr. Dean is now getting the papers to the property his family has lived on for generations.
I meet my daddy them there, and they leave me on the property by the hill.
His granddaughter, Josette Thompson, told me that she and her grandfather spoke about this moment for years, and the news of him finally receiving his family's deed was surreal for him.
We've been talking about it, and so he's been talking to us about it for a long time, that we need our papers. Just yesterday he was saying he wondered whether he will truly have the papers in his hand.
On Friday, 96 out of the more than 200 deeds of conveyance were distributed. In attendance at the ceremony were Prime Minister Philip Davis, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, and several members of Parliament. Cooper expressed the importance of having land papers, stating it is about expansion, access to education, and economic opportunities.
Because it means the ability to expand, to start businesses, to improve homes, to create generational wealth. And land means empowerment. Yes. Land may be leveraged to send children to college, and some of us know about that. Yeah. So land is empowerment, and that empowerment will drive much needed development here in Moores Island.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Meantime, the Grand Lucayan Resort is still in the midst of controversy as questions continue to swirl regarding its sale. Just yesterday, a former employee of the resort spoke to the Our News team, claiming a delay in salary, missing NIB payments, and other issues. The constant issues leading to speculations on whether the government's 2025 deal on the sale of the resort has fallen through. Now, following that deeds of conveyance ceremony yesterday, Moxie was asked about the rumors surrounding the resort. However, she remained fairly tight-lipped.
I don't know anything about that. Absolutely nothing about that, yeah. As far as I know, everything is in progress.
And And nearly a year after a massive fire at a scrap metal yard put roadside garages under the spotlight, and months after the Prime Minister ordered a nationwide assessment, government says it is now ready to move from review to action. The Minister of Environment confirming Crown land has been identified off Gladstone Road. Our news anchor Kendino Knowles tells us it's part of a plan to move scrap metal operations out of residential communities.
We do have government crown land that have been identified. The Prime Minister has graciously given a small committee this land to be used as the future place for roadside garages.
The move follows a March 2025 directive from Prime Minister Philip Davis ordering a multi-agency assessment of roadside garages and scrap metal yards. This after a major fire at Larry's scrap metal yard sent smoke across New Providence and raised fresh concerns about safety. At the time, Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting on the defense.
I don't want us to negate the fact that this is a long-standing issue in New Providence, right? It just didn't pop up yesterday.
But government concerns about scrap metal yards and roadside operations did not start with that fire. More than a decade ago, in a 2013 interview with the Tribune, then Deputy Prime Minister Davis joined calls that warned that the high rate of unregulated scrap metal yards and copper theft could, quote, bring the country to its knees. At the time, Davis said the Christie-led government was pursuing stricter regulation, including requiring proof of ownership and source before copper could be exported. Today, as Prime Minister, his administration says it is now moving to close that loop, with what Environment Minister Zane Lightbourne says is a plan to remove roadside garages and scrap operations from residential communities altogether.
You'd go to some properties and you'll see 4 and 5 cars in the yard, and people aren't using these vehicles sometimes. They want to fix them, but the years go by in some cases, and they just deteriorate.
And once they multiply, he says the problem quickly escalates.
Then you see 20 cars and people bringing cars in, and you figure out, and then it's too late.
Beyond the eyesore, Lightbourne says these operations pose real risks, from fires to crime to environmental damage.
We are working a committee that comprises Urban Renewal, Ministry of Works, and the Ministry of Environment.
The proposed site off Gladstone Road North, Lightbourne says, will be properly prepared to handle scrap metal safely, including protecting the water table and bringing operations under stronger oversight.
When you're dealing with vehicles, you're dealing with liquid oils, and you don't want to create another hazard.
Yeah,
especially
you mentioned the water table.
Yes.
And the minister confirms government has already engaged about 4 scrap metal yard operators as part of the effort to move these operations out of residential communities and into the dedicated site.
These fires that spring up every now and again, neighbors, not good for the environment. It's unhealthy, unsafe, and so we are trying to expedite that.
Thanks so much, Kendino. Well, a new Supreme Court judicial complex is now one step closer to reality. While the project is a little behind schedule, Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder tells our Jasmine Brown if everything goes according to plan, there will soon be a major demolition to make way for the new structure.
I think we've all accepted that we've outgrown the spaces that we currently occupy for this compound that we call the Supreme Court.
Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder Casey emphasizing why it's vital the Supreme Courts find a new home. In recent years, successive administrations have promised to break ground on a new Supreme Court complex, the most recent being this Davis administration. Back in 2023, Attorney General Ryan Pinder Casey told reporters the government acquired the Rodney Bain building property downtown to house this new court complex. And during his Senate budget communication last June, the AG revealed the plan was to break ground the end of last year. Sir Ian telling me the holdup is related to an issue in demolishing the current Shirley Street site.
We are much closer than we've been before, I think. We had challenges with the demolition of Rodney Bain because of some power issues in terms of there's a transformer on the complex that that pose a difficulty for the demolition, but that's being resolved.
With that issue now worked out, the CJ says the demolition can go ahead, moving on to the groundbreaking for a state-of-the-art Supreme Court complex with at least 19 new Supreme Courts, judges' chambers, and support services. The AG also foreshadowed amenities like a bail management center, jury rooms, a state-of-the-art exhibit room, and full administrative areas, including a probate and civil registry center. There are also plans for a multi-layered garage with partial underground parking.
A new court complex will allow for the modernization of courtrooms, modernization of spaces, allow for better workflow, for secure workflow, deal with safety concerns we may have. So a court complex will allow for that better integration, security, and modernization.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And be sure to join our Jasmine Brown on Our TV next Wednesday morning, January 14th, for live coverage of the official opening of the legal year. And a member of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force hospitalized after being stabbed in the early morning hours of Friday, January 9th. According to reports, shortly after 3 a.m., EMS were requested in the Domingo Heights area after a woman reported that her son had stabbed her male companion. Further investigations revealed that the male acquaintance allegedly assaulted the complainant and her juvenile daughter, prompting the son to intervene in an effort to protect them. The 19-year-old son was taken into police custody and is assisting with the ongoing investigation. The victim was transported to the hospital where he reportedly underwent surgery and is listed in stable condition. And the Court of Appeal has increased the sentence of a man convicted of shooting the girlfriend of his reputed rival to 25 years after finding that a judge went too easy on him. Mike Phileas was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the attempted murder of Jacqueline Similian on August 25, 2021 at Joe Farrington Road. But prosecutors appealed the sentence because it was too lenient. The Court of Appeal agreed, saying that Justice Janine Weish Gomez failed to place sufficient weight on the attack that left Similian permanently injured. Similian was at home with her boyfriend, Sammy Pascal, when their car alarm went off. But Similian and Pascal went outside to investigate. Pascal reportedly ran after a man while Similian was attacked by two men who were lurking near their yard. She identified one of the assailants as Phileas, whom she knew all of her life. Similian said that the second man punched her about the body while Phileas shot her to the right hip. Similian said that Phileas tried to shoot her again. However, his gun jammed and the clip dropped, prompting him and his accomplice to flee. Before fleeing the scene, Phileas reportedly warned Similian not to report the matter. If she did, he told her he would return and kill her and her children. The chilling threat remained on Similian's mind, and she didn't tell police who shot her until 3 months later. When Our News Weekend returns, tackling a once taboo conversation. A local OBGYN says women no longer have to suffer in silence when it comes to menopause. Those details coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on our TV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, industry leaders, cultural icons, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episode on our YouTube channel. 9 seasons strong, and we're just getting started. This is On the Record.
There's been a growing conversation around menopause and how women can better navigate this stage of life. Once considered a taboo topic, doctors now say menopause is something women should feel comfortable talking about and getting help for. Tonight, our Talia Hall speaks with an OBGYN who says women no longer have to suffer in silence.
Menopause is a natural part of aging, yet for many women, it's a stage they feel unprepared for. Menopause marks the end of a woman's menstrual cycle. That's when many women may notice they get hot flashes, mood changes, sleep issues, weight gain, or irregular periods. OBGYN Dr. Agatha Mackey says menopause is normal. However, many women struggle in silence, and that is why she uses her social media platform to speak openly and educate women about the topic.
I try to, speak frankly and open, just to, let them know that, this is normal. Everybody goes through it. And when you go to your physician, these are things that you can talk about. So it's just bringing awareness, making them feel comfortable, letting them know that there are treatment options and they don't have to suffer in silence. And so for menopause, that's estrogen deficiency, testosterone deficiencies, with sexual decrease in sexual libido. And I talk a lot about that. I may offend a lot of people with that, but it's all a part of life.
But when should the conversation actually begin?
You let them know that, hey, you're going to become, adolescent, your hormones are changing, then you're going to go through your reproductive years where you can have a baby if you choose to, and then your hormones are going to decline, and then you're going to go into menopause. So from as early as then, you let them know that these are the stages of life.
Dr. Mackey stresses the importance of seeing your doctor, openly sharing symptoms, and working together to determine the best course of care. And while menopause typically occurs around age 50, some women experience it earlier.
But some persons may have earlier menopause at 45, right? So for those persons who have menopause at the age of 45, they may be experiencing perimenopausal symptoms, right, which is the slow decline in terms of your estrogen production, etc. So they may be having these symptoms as early as 35. So they may have hot flashes, mental fogginess, on all of the different symptoms, vaginal dryness, skin hair changes, all of those things they may have, and they might not understand, what's going on.
But the good news is there are ways to manage symptoms, and support is available right here at home.
So we have hormonal replacement therapy that helps with all of the estrogen deficiency symptoms. And then we have, there are different things, we, like in terms of the cosmetic gynecology space, we have regenerative medicine where we use PRP, O shots that will help with the vaginal tissue that is affected by the estrogen deficiency. So it can help with vaginal moisture. It can also help with tightness. The radio frequency can also similarly help with tightening and moisture. And it can also help with urinary symptoms. So a lot of persons may have incontinence, and that can help with that.
Dr. Mackey is also preparing to launch a menopause program later this year to help women navigate the transition with a focus on treatment options, diet, and exercise. We'll have more on that in another report. Reporting for Our News, I'm Talia Hall.
All right, thanks so much for that, Italia. Still to come on Our News Weekend, Caribbean's cocktail culture is taking center stage in New Providence, a local award-winning bar hosting the launch of the first of its kind tour. But first,
Jazzism gets a big payday in the Bronx, and we catch up with some hoops. We'll talk about it next on our Sports Weekend.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say
You get the most comprehensive half hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution. Behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court apartment complex.
Our News at 7 brings you that truth in all of the day's top stories, sports, and our view of the world. Join me, Kendino Knowles, weeknights for Our News at 7. Stay with the team you already trust.
Good evening, happy Majority Rule Day. I'm Tage Adderley, and this is the weekend. That means I'm here with sports. Jazzism made history for the New York Yankees, hitting 30 home runs and stealing 30 bases in a season for the first time in over 2 decades. Because of his big year, the 2025 All-Star is about to get a big check. The New Providence-born second baseman avoided a potentially unseemly arbitration battle with his team agreeing to a one-year, $10.2 million deal with the New York Yankees. Jazz is coming off a 2025 campaign where he hit 31 home runs, had 80 RBI, and he walked 58 times, all career highs. He also had an .813 OPS, the second highest of his career, and he had a patriotic .242 batting average. He also stole 30 bases for good measure, becoming the first New York Yankee to hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases since Alfonso Soriano in 2003. For Jazz's accomplishments, he was named to the American League All-Star team and given the American League Silver Slugger Trophy for second base, awarded to the best hitter at each position. Now, $10 million is a lot of money, but if he can have a similar season this year, he will make a lot more when he hits free agency at the conclusion. Now we're going to get you all caught up with the latest hoops action from last night. VJ Edgecombe had only 6 points, but he grabbed 9 rebounds, dished out 7 assists, and he pilfered 2 steals to help the Philadelphia 76ers get a 103-91 win over the Orlando Magic. Tyrese Maxey had 29 points to lead the team, and Joel Embiid had 22 points and 9 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton scored 4 points in the LA Lakers' 105-101 loss to the Milwaukee Bucks. Luka Doncic had 24, 9, and 9 in the losing effort. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 21 for the Bucks. And Buddy Hield's been in the Warriors' doghouse lately, but he got in his team's 137-103 win over the Sacramento Kings. He got him up too, making 2 of 4 threes to score 6 points in only 4 minutes. Steph Curry had 27 points and 10 assists to lead the Dubs. And Klay Thompson and the Dallas Mavericks play tonight if you want to check that out as well. We'll talk about it on Sunday night. That is a wrap for sports this evening. I'm Tej Adderley, and this is Our Sports Weekend. I'll catch you again tomorrow night.
On the other side of this break, meteorologist Ian McKinsey steps into the weather center. He's got a look at temperatures across the country. Stick with us.
For over 2 decades, our loyal viewers have made us the most watched and trusted half hour of television. And now, with more reasons to watch.
Those chaotic scenes from Parliament this morning as the mace dramatically thrown through the windows.
Our News, weeknights at 7:30 with Atalia Hall. Just another reason to stay with the team you already trust.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Majority Rule Saturday. Currently outside our studios, partly cloudy skies with a temperature 74. Feels like the same. Winds from the east-northeast at 14 miles per hour. Across the country at this time, we have 73s across Freeport and Marsh Harbor, 74s in Great Harbor Key and the capital, a pair of 75s in Nicholstown and Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera, 76 in Allenstown, Bimini. Central Bahamas 75s continuing in Kemps Bay, Arthurstown and Coburn Town, San Salvador, 77s in Black Point, Port Nelson and Deadman's Key, Long Island, 76 in Georgetown, Exuma. Southeast Bahamas continuing with those 76s in Duncantown, Ragged Island, Abrahams Bay, Maguana and Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, a trio of 78s in Colonel Hill, Delectable Bay and Matthewtown in Agua. Satellite and radar composite at this time. Gorgeous conditions across the country that will continue courtesy of a high pressure system across our area. However, this high pressure system is expected to slide eastwards in anticipation of this frontal boundary that's across the Gulf at this time. This frontal system should push to the northwest Bahamas sometime late tonight into early Monday, ushering some moisture. Boating forecasts across the northwest and central Bahamas at this time. There is a caution in place due to those swells. There's a risk of rip currents for swimmers. Winds northeast to east, 10 to 15 knot, seas running 2 to 4, but up to 6 feet offshore in those northerly swells. High tide at 1:51 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low tide at 8:12 a.m. tomorrow morning. Southeast Bahamas, there is a caution in place for you boaters and a risk of rip currents for you swimmers as well. Winds northeast east 15 to 20 knots, seas running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, as I mentioned earlier, that front will push through our area sometime late Sunday into Monday, ushering showers. It should stall just south of the capital, clearing out by Wednesday. A more potent cold front should brush us on Thursday, ushering much cooler temperatures anticipated. Yes, into next weekend, those temperatures will get back down into the low 60s, upper 50s. Overnight temperatures with the daytime highs just struggling to get back into the mid 70s by the end of the week. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, Enjoyable weekend, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ian. Well, the Caribbean's cocktail culture is taking center stage in Nassau this week as some of the region's top mixologists come together for a first-of-its-kind event. It's called the Caribbean Cocktail Tour, and organizers say it's about far more than just the drinks. Our News' Delvado Emmanuel has the story.
From the Bahamas to Puerto Rico and the Cayman Islands, the Caribbean Cocktail Tour has officially launched in Nassau with its first night event held at Bon Vivants in Sandy Port. The event bringing together some of the region's most respected bartenders for a bold showcase of Caribbean mixology. The tour unites award-winning bars and rising talents in the cultural exchange, centered on cocktail, hospitality, and Caribbean identity. Spearheading the event locally, BV's Hospitality Vice President, Nico Imbert.
Getting a collective of, well-known bars, but like slept-on bars, specifically in the Caribbean, because the Caribbean and the cocktail industry is pretty slept on. People thinking it's just tiki and fun and all that, but Caribbean Cocktail Tour was designed and created to highlight and put more so in the spotlight the craft of Caribbean mixology.
This week's Nassau stop features visiting bartenders from Library by the Sea in the Cayman Islands and top bars in Puerto Rico, many of them recognized by world's 50 best bars. Last night, guests, myself included, got to taste signature cocktails made from premium spirits from Diego, including Johnny Walker and Kettle One.
Some brought their stuff prepped and batched already in very unique and methodical ways. Like certain ingredients are sous vide. Like it's like that, right? And that type of thing alone excites me. You can tell that's a big smile just now. It excites me because honestly, people need to see how deep it could get.
Now, Hospitality VP says it's more than just mixing drinks. It's about exchange of culture.
We know how we like certain things in passion fruit based on where we're from. We're from Nassau, we're Bahamians, essentially, right? We like what we like, but in other countries, they have their unique things that they like. And the cultural experience in this exchange is really about those things coming together.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
And with that, we thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepard here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.